I want to welcome you guys back to another dusty day out here in the workshop. I have a really cool project planned for today. It's going to be a quick one, most likely a two-part series. I am going to be making a bush sword. So it's really just going to be a monster of a knife. Kind of like if a machete and a really big chopper had a baby. It's going to have that blade length of a machete, but a real nice thick blade like a chopper. I want to take you over to the anvil, and I'm going to show you the design that I have drawn up for this massive knife. Something along these lines. In total, it's going to be 24 inches, maybe 25. We'll see how long the tip forges. It's a generous 5.5 inch handle, ½ inch here. So we have ourselves a good 18 inches of blade, maybe 19 inches, depending on how long the tip forges out. I'm going to do a nice fuller up top here and reduce that weight, keep it nice and light. And there is going to be a very slight distal taper. And the tang is actually lower here than here, which is why I have to forge this piece and not just do material removal, because I had thought about just doing that. But there's a couple things I have to forge, and here is a piece of steel. What made me think of doing this was I simply grabbed a piece of 24-inch bar stock, and it just made me go, you know, that'd be a knife. So I have to make it be a knife. So if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. So I am going to start up the forge and throw this piece in the fire. So now it's cooled off, I am going to trace where I want to grind out the handle and the tip. And I wasn't trying to forge it super close to final dimensions, I just wanted to forge on the tip so I'd get a little extra length out of it, and I needed to forge down the back of the handle because the tip of the handle here is lower than the rest of the blade. So we have the rough profile all ground in. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to go back into the forge. I'm going to spread the end of the handle just a little bit and start tapering the tang just a tiny bit. That's a small modification, but it just feels so much better in the hand that way. I really like how that handle's feeling. So now, once the levels are ground, this knife will be ready for normalizing, thermal cycling, and the quench, and then tempering. So, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to mark where the pins are going to go on the handle and get those drilled before I do anything else, because I hate forgetting to drill my handle pins until after the heat treat, because then it is just such a fight to get them through. So I'm going to drill them now, so I don't have to worry about drilling through any hardened steel. So I have the profile all worked out here. The choil is all cut in. And now it is time to trace on where I want the fuller and where I want to grind the bevels to. I kind of marked where the handle scales will be so that I know just kind of how to lay everything out. So I'm going to do a little drawing on here, and then it will be time to grind and heat treat. And there we go, that gives us both where the fuller is and where the grind lines are. So on this side as well, I do the fuller first, so that way if I slip at all with the small wheel, I don't gouge the ridge here. That's something that I have struggled with in the past, is if I do the bevels first and then try to do grind in fuller, I will gouge the ridge between where the fuller is and where the bevel is. So if I do the fullers first, it helps to prevent that, and it helps to make it easier for me to grind this line very, very straight. So I am going to get the small wheel attachment into my grinder, and I'm going to start laying in these fullers. The fullers have been ground. They're not 100% perfect, but this is good enough for preheat treat. After the heat treat, it's actually easier to clean up the fullers and get all those lines really crisp because the steel is a little bit harder. And I move up the grits to 180 grit after the heat treat, and so I can get these lines really, really crisp. This is good enough for now. So I am going to grind in the primary bevel. Alright, so I have the primary bevels ground in. And let's say that that's all pretty straight and good for preheat treat. I left this little bit right here for bringing these bevels all the way up to 320 or 400 grit after the heat treat. So this should look absolutely amazing when it is all finished. And now it is time. Now it is time to heat up the heat treating oven. Throw this in, and I'm very happy. I've got it down. Right now it's at about 2 pounds, 6 ounces, and I think with all the finish grinding, and I'm going to distal taper it a little bit, so I think I can bring this down to about 1.8 pounds. It's going to be really perfect for something this large. Alright, we are up to temperature. I'm going to stop it for just a moment so I do not get electrocuted, because this knife kind of pushes the boundaries of the size of this oven. So, this is exactly what this hole right here is for. Just to be able to heat treat this long of a blade. There we go. It is kind of a tight fit, as you can see right there. But everything will get hardened except for the very end of the tang. And this, I'm going to turn this back on. Let it come back up to temperature. And give it about a 10-minute soak. And then it'll be time to quench. That is a great quench. Oh, it is beautifully straight. And this just looks absolutely fantastic. I am so very pleased with that. You can't tell from this angle, but it is extremely straight. It looks just wonderful. So now I'm going to go pop this in the oven for 2 cycles of tempering at 400 degrees, 2 hours each cycle. This big beautiful blade is out of the temper, looking wonderfully straight. I am very, very happy with that. The weight has been reduced significantly. It is now very easy for me to wield one-handed. I've had a ton of fun making this knife so far. It is literally a dream knife. I had a dream I had a knife like this, so I decided I had to make one, and I happened to pick up a piece of steel that I was cutting up to make some Damascus that was 2 feet long or so, and it felt so perfect. So I decided I had to make one, and I'm very, very pleased that I did. It's looking awesome. That fuller is looking amazing. So in the next episode, I am going to get this all finished up, get a handle on it, and it'll be a totally functional, beautiful, big beautiful chopper. So I want to thank you for watching this episode. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. It really helps me to grow the channel, especially if you get in there in that comment section, leave me a comment, let me know what you liked, let me know what you didn't like. Really excited to continue building my YouTube channel, and I can only do it with your help, so I want to thank you one more time. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will catch you on the next episode of Let's Make a Knife. You guys, take it easy.